Hey, by the way, am
sounds
I
good with
gonna?
me.
So you have a radio show? Like, is that like that's what you do, or is it just a podcast, or is it like a double feature thing?
Yeah, I started off with radio, 91.7 over in CT, and after doing that for a little bit, I decided to just make a podcast. So now I combine the two. So like, one of my episodes, it's on the radio, or each of my episodes are on the radio and podcast.
So okay, cool. Yeah, let's hit it. What's up, guys? This is the Toasty Podcast. My name's Sky,
And I'm Matty B.
and this is our guest. I guess his name is Ethan. Yeah,
No, that's the old
Bill. Sorry, bud.
No, my
That's
name's
the other
Bill
guy.
Toasty.
Bill. There we go, man. He
That's
does
the
his own
laptop I'm
podcast.
borrowing right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's called The Way. Am I correct? The Way.
Yep. The Way
Sweet, man.
podcast. Also FM 91.7 and CT.
There you go, dude.
So if you're up
Heck
in
yeah.
if you're up in Connecticut, 91.7.
Dude,
What,
hit
what
it.
time do you does your show come on?
Yeah, Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. Tune in for that.
Wednesdays at 5.
Wednesdays at 5, and then also you do like journalists. Is that your main guests or journalists?
Yeah, so that's what I mainly sit down with. Not even journalists, just people who know a lot about a topic. So like, I mean, three of my past guests were journalists. Where one wrote a book about following a kilo of cocaine from Colombia. The 2002 Venezuela coup, another journalist was in that. But then I'll do other topics. Like I just got done sitting with a doctor who focuses on the spine, CL. And what was the other one that I did? Oh yeah, men's eating disorders. So just like random stuff, as long as the person knows a lot.
You know, I was looking at that one right there, the one you just mentioned, the eating disorders. I was actually looking at that. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this guy like wrote a whole book on this thing. Just interesting people that have disorders. I was like, oh wow, cool.
Yeah, that's what I found interesting because people bring up the topic eating disorders, but he's I forgot where he was located, not Germany, but somewhere in Europe or Middle East. And yeah, like he just decided to focus on the men's aspect because they make up, I want to say 25% of all eating disorders.
Holy crap,
Oh wow.
that's weird.
I knew it was majority
Yeah.
female
And eating
that
disorder.
have eating disorders, but I didn't realize men were only 25%.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Well, holy crap, man.
What's
So you're.
interesting is eating disorders.
Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, the Zoom lag kind of kicks in.
I told you, man. It's weird,
But
man.
yeah,
You gotta
like,
get.
what's
Yeah.
Gotta get used to it. But yeah, what's interesting is eating disorders, unless you factor in the wait, I got so like how bad is the lag? Because it looks like it's worse on your guys' end.
Well, that's why I asked. I figured it would be because the thing is I'm running off a phone hotspot right now. So that is how we do it, man. In a warehouse
At least
space
in this warehouse right
Alright.
now.
right now, before I get internet, that's how it is. I can switch phones and see if that helps. Honestly, I don't know. We'll see. But
Yeah, it's your guys' call.
I think we're fine.
But yes,
yeah,
I'll
we're
just
fine.
keep
We're
going
good.
with them.
Let's
last
just keep
thing.
going, dude. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, so what's interesting is depending on how you classify mental disorders, like if you say alcoholism or something like that is a mental disorder, then that's the number one death rate mental disorder. But if you don't classify that as a mental disorder, eating disorders are actually the number one, the highest death rate of them all.
Interesting. Wow.
So I like to
Okay.
bring topics to just stuff like that, but it's not all serious. I mean, I had like an ugly artist come on the show, and that was a fun one.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're just talking to people that are just like interesting. Like, and I like that. That's kind of like, it'd be a sweet thing to do, and that's kind of what I've been trying to do too as well. I usually just kind of sprinkle in the political topics to that, Essentially that's all it is. So we'll talk to you about journalism, we'll see what's going on there. Honestly, most likely get to the point where we're like journalists in the news and shit, the worst part of it probably, but whatever.
I was going to
Sounds
ask.
good.
Anyway.
So, in your opinion, since you've actually interviewed journalists and you do have a radio show, do you feel like journalism as a mainstream profession still exists, or do you feel like every journalist is just told by their producer or editor basically what to find and what to present? Or do you feel like there is still investigative journalism out there?
Yeah, so the first thing I'll say is I myself am not a journalist, so I can't like say exactly the insides, but I can say, like you said, I interview journalists, and when I have a guest come on the show, I put in a few hours of research at least for like each episode. So I have to go through journalism, I have to interview the journalists, etc. I had my guest from Venezuela. I had her talk about fake news and how she has to deal with that. And she just told me the story. Like for Venezuela, she was there for 7 years. She was on the front line. She has to completely fact check absolutely everything. And if she makes a small mistake, she'll get like hammered on it. Like, oh, fake, like branded fake news. She's an issue. Don't trust her, etc. So the good ones out there absolutely have to put in like countless hours, years, like of countless research. But then you take other ones who are like, um, I had two guests for one episode. I'm not gonna bash him because he is a great journalist, but it was a topic of left versus right economics, and one of the guys on the right side was a writer for Sean Hannity, and I don't know too much about him, but he's supposed to be a very big right-wing figure, and he does for the right side like excellent journalism, etc. Like he does a good job, but then the editors will take what was his name? Cory Booker. He was a candidate for the Democratic Party,
Right.
and the writer he put a lot of good. He wrote a great piece on it about attacking Medicare for all. I'm an advocate for it, but I see both sides, so he attacks it, and he did a good job with it. But then the Sean Hannity newspaper takes the headline, and in all bolds, it's why Cory Booker's plan is the most flawed thing in the world, and it just it, like critiques it to make it look so biased. And that's with left side too, of course. I'm not just gonna say either
Right.
way in any direction,
Yeah.
but they definitely try to clickbait some of these writers, and a
Yeah.
lot of these writers also like do their research. So there's some of those that are fake, just throw whatnot out, but other ones who actually put in their research.
That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. I was gonna compare some of it to like there's a guy that lived in was it Venezuela? The guy that exposed or brought Edward Snowden to light, right? And like interviewed him for a week
Like
or
Julian
whatever.
Assange,
Yeah, I guess.
WikiLeaks founder, editor.
No. The guy that founded another um, news thing and just quit like recently. What was his name?
I can't think of his name
I
right
can't
now.
freaking. I'm blanking on his
It's
name, dude. He was a
Green something?
crazy Green, right?
No. Green.
So he was a crazy
I'll think of it in a
journalist,
second.
and he was good at it, but he didn't do what they wanted, kind of thing. And there he ended up
Mhm.
in saying, "Okay, I'm peacing out here." But he was good. He was really good. He like got down deep, got into it. That was cool. I like that.
He was a real investigative journalist
That's
that
good.
got basically got fired from the publication he was with.
Yeah,
I think it was Washington Post,
right.
and then started his own publication, and then just recently quit that
Yeah,
because they were starting to get more and more biased.
right. Is the reason you just choose journalism is because it's like has the most people in it that are experts, or is that how that end up?
That's the reason I got in. Well, yeah, like first I want to say like the Washington Post and New York Times, stuff like that. I'm like, so I was listening to a podcast earlier today. It was tangentially speaking. It's the first episode from them I heard, so I think it's tangent. Yeah, being tangent speaking or something. And it was an episode featuring the guest Crystal Ball, I think her name was.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is now for the longest time, as always, you look at the TV, you see the news, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, etc. And that's just the go-to. You get your news, your mainstream, New York Times, Los Angeles Times, etc. But now so many other news outlets have come across, like podcasting is a great example of a lot of new people creating podcasts, creating alternative media, alternative news outlets. And it's great because something she mentioned in the podcast is she's under The Hill, which is another newspaper organization. And on so wait, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, all right. So what's interesting is sort of now you have this more freedom. Like when she writes for other companies like New York Times even or something, you have to be careful about what you write in certain topics. But when you have this freedom, you're able to actually just dive in and say whatever you want about a certain topic. But the problem with that is when you go into this alternate news, you have these people just shouting out gibberish nonsense and saying like it's factual. And I forgot what the question was, but I just wanted to say that too.
No, I understand, dude. I was asking you kind of why you got into the way you went, journalists and why. And I asked, is it because they are I guess, more of an expert in their field? But I think you maybe just answered my question. Some of them have more freedom than others, and they can talk about who they've talked to. Because journalists are the ones that have talked to
Yeah, and
people, I guess.
yeah, exactly. And journalists aren't my like main priority, but again,
Sure.
they like I like journalists who spend a lot of time on like a topic. So like the kilo of cocaine, he's a journalist. He's been a journalist for a long, long time, but he wrote a book on the kilo of cocaine, and he's did a documentary with the Guardian. So like he's a journalist who definitely like journalists that narrow in on specific fields. They know their stuff because that's all
Mm-hmm.
they do. So that's why I'd love to have them on my show because I'm not an expert, and I'd be crazy to claim I am. I consider myself a generalist, and I say that because I have a book called Range. I recommend everyone read it. One of the few books I've read over the past few
Yo,
years,
shameless plug.
but amazing book. Yeah,
Good.
I mean, hopefully the guy gives me some ad money. Nah, he's too big for that. But so yeah, I like to be a generalist, so I get a general idea. But these journalists or doctors or whoever I have on the show, they're specialists. So I like have a general idea, but they can actually tell me why I'm wrong or what I don't know or what I should know, which goes to the audience. That's the way I like to look at it.
I get it, dude. I agree, dude, because I'm a bozo, man. I'm out here just talking to people. And the reason I do it is so I can talk to people and they can actually show me or teach me or, whatever. And that leads to listeners. So I'm there, dude. I agree, completely agree. That's crazy. How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, we're all Joe Rogans pretending we know everything. Nah, I love Joe Rogan, so I can't disrespect him. He's my favorite. But I've been doing this for about a year now, I'd say. So, well, year and a half, but then pandemic, so I lost the studio for March. I mean, I still lost the studio, but from March I lost the studio, and then I said July, August, let me just get my own equipment because borrowing the portable stuff they had was a nuisance. Anyway, so I started probably last July, I'd say, started with the radio, stopped in February when COVID hit, or March, and picked it back up July, August.
Why did you stop in March because of COVID? Did the
Yeah.
studio just shut down because of that?
Yeah, exactly. The studio shut
Oh,
down and it's still been shut down, which like doesn't make sense to me when
Connecticut.
and I say this because no, I say that because well, yeah, no, it's Connecticut, it should still be open. But it doesn't make sense to me because they still let bands in to use the studio to play music, but I can't go in to have one person sit down with me where we sit 6 feet apart or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
yeah. Me and Matt have been tested over here, so we're good to go. But I agree, man. I don't know why we don't do that more often. That's the reason I got a warehouse this year. I got a warehouse this year so I could build a studio, and from here we'll see what happens. Because I know I don't want anyone else to tell me what to do.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
exactly. If we have our own space, we have our own conversations. It's total freedom.
That's the whole point of podcasting, man.
Yeah.
So you just got to cut out that middleman. But for you, I get it because you're on a radio show, and that helps you out a lot probably because they have the stuff for you. And that'd be legit. Did you join the radio or do you have like an actual segment? Do you pay for that segment?
No, I just joined the radio. I'm on the station I'm on. It's a nonprofit, so I had to go through some training, stuff like that, and practice and do a few practice runs, etc. But yeah, I don't have to pay for anything. I just get to go in and use
Oh,
it.
So you're the guy that's like, all right, next up,
Also-
we're listening to, and then is that you?
DJ.
Oh no, I do the same shows I do now. It's like the interviews,
Oh.
but then it's also on the radio.
Oh, okay, cool. Huh.
Yeah,
Nice, dude.
yeah, I'm not the. We have a guy
DJ.
for that though, and he yeah, like I'll be listening to my episodes, and then randomly, hey, we're cutting out of the way podcast for this. What is it? What I don't even know if they do ads, but it was like a little music segment where they take a small minute or two break, and then they just came back to it because it's a nonprofit. So
They
also,
got
I forgot to say though, I like your guys' studio set up.
Oh, thanks, man.
Got a nice like look to it, especially with the wood table. Yeah,
I mean, I appreciate that
We
for
love
sure.
that
you don't like it?
It's all in the making, dude. No. We love it, trust me. But it's all in the making. So it's just
the
like,
2x4s are eventually going to be a wall,
yeah.
and etc. It's not going to look so,
I was gonna say you need some sound up though, but like some sound padding.
Oh,
but then,
dude,
yeah, definitely could
dude,
come together.
we don't have. I'm gonna during this podcast, I guarantee there will be a train that goes by. So get ready for that. I'll just tell you when it's coming. Right? It's so loud. You're right. I need the actual studio built because I'm building a building inside of the warehouse so that it's all closed in. The actual plan was to like build a 2-story thing and then live here, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. We'll see.
Sounds good. That's sick. I see a lot of people from their living rooms like I am right now. Well, bedroom right now. But it's cool to just see even like that, and like I can see it coming together.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
good, man.
Sometimes I feel like I went too far. Like you just said, most people are in their living rooms just like hanging out doing a podcast. That's probably what I should be doing right now, honestly.
Well, we did the whole bedroom thing for like a year.
That's true. Yeah, we did do it
So
for a while.
that's kinda how
So
we
you're right.
started.
And we did do that, and I agree. My main thing for me has been I'm ADHD, I guess. I don't know, in everything I do. So it's kind of wavy. So if I'll go off and we'll do a podcast about, K-pop, and you're like, what the heck is that compared to talking about Biden and Trump? I don't know what to think of this. So I'm getting a kind of trying to hone in on the focus here and get down, but I still want to talk to people about anything, and so I can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to like control that. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Have
Well,
you,
got your couple over there looking like a sponsorship?
This? Oh, dude, Fossil Rim, dude, get you some, man. No, it's not really a sponsor at all. I just went there as a kid.
It's like how many acres is Fossil Rim?
uh,
1,000
I don't
acres
remember,
or
man.
something like that.
yeah, it's
It's like a
big.
drive-through zoo.
yeah,
All
huge
these
though,
exotic
huge.
animals.
Yeah, exotic animal. It's Texas, man.
Yeah.
So that's what you have in Texas. You have a lot of land to do things like that. But what did you do? I guess I want to know your best guest. You said you talked about him earlier. You said the best guest was this. Was it because of how famous they were, or just because of you wanted to talk about cocaine? Let's talk about cocaine.
Well, do you want the best guess or the cocaine one? Because that one's a very close second place.
Is it? I would say give us the best, like the
Yeah.
best guest you've had on.
My best was also like my scariest. Like, well, no, I don't want to say it. Let me take that 100% back. But my best guess was episode 12. Yeah, I don't want disrespect. No, it was episode 12 where I had a guest call in from death row.
Oh wow.
So like he was in prison, death row,
That-
death phone. Yeah.
Okay.
So
how do you
wait,
even
quick
get-
question: is he still on death row?
Oh yeah, you're there for life.
Yeah, I was. Well, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was saying.
Well,
Like, did they,
can't you get off of that, or
Well,
okay.
you can get off it or you can die. So that was my
Right,
I was
so,
asking that in a gentle way.
Yeah. So who? I mean,
That's
I
the
don't.
same saying. That's the same saying with the MS-13, another episode. The only way out of that gang is to die or go to prison.
Yeah.
I say, and even in prison, there's enough MS-13 members to keep track of you. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you guys hear that Jeffrey Epstein's
I sent the article
last
to you.
the last cellmate apparently died of COVID?
Yeah.
The
In
heck
his-
is that?
in
That's
his
interesting.
Early 50s.
Don't believe it, but whatever.
Is it that super jacked guy?
Was it?
I'm pretty sure. Like
Oh my
super
gosh,
healthy,
dude.
ripped guy. Yeah,
Whatever,
just
man.
happened to die of.
Are you into anything like that? Do you like do conspiracies at all or no?
A little bit, not 100%, but I love the Epstein. It's something like Jeffrey Epstein's cousin showed up and reveals she knows information. In other news, her death was reported next weekend.
Right? Another dude,
Where,
it's
yeah,
insane how that works, man. And you're just like, okay, I don't buy any of it, man. I just think that
You
it's
think
got to be
you think he
controlled.
killed himself?
nah, nah, I don't think he did.
You really? You don't think he
I
killed
think he was
himself?
killed. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I know. That's one of the few conspiracies I'm into, but I don't think he did.
It's not even a conspiracy anymore, in
I
my
don't know.
opinion. But yeah, I mean, come on. It's so blatantly seems like obvious. So I don't know. I don't know, man. That's where I'm at with it. Do you ever have any political guests on? Like political stuff? Do you ever talk about that kind of thing? Do you get into it?
Yeah, a little bit. Like the Venezuelan one, I asked her opinion, and she compared Trump to who she compared to Chavez. So like a little
Really?
bit like that for a segment. Yeah, which is weird because Chavez is in Venezuela for people that don't. Well, everybody, I feel like. Anyway, he is very left wing socialist extremist,
Okay.
and she wrote like a long article on it about Trump, who is very right wing, not even extremist, but very right wing.
Well,
Also, I just said everyone knows.
people
I had no idea who the guy was until my podcast, so I can't say that.
that's what I was gonna say. Is I was about to say, hey, tell the listeners who this guy is, because like people out here don't know, but it's fine. It doesn't really matter. I would
Chavez
say
he's like very charismatic,
Trump is very charismatic,
very
and
cult of personality type of leader.
yeah, and I don't know. I mean, obviously there are a lot of people out there that say, yeah, he's an extremist, because I mean, maybe they're just against him. I don't know. But people from other countries, I'm always interested in their view because they are seeing it all from almost from a news perspective. So what happens when they're looking at it and they're only seeing Fox News and Washington Post, and do they see all these random journalists that are actually doing their job? I don't know. I have no idea. You know?
I don't know either. I know. I had a guest on who was an ugly artist. Like he would depict ugly art, like at some along that, and he told me that all the news he saw was very negative. He seemed like a pro-Trump guy, but yeah, like he said, it's very, I guess, similar to America, just less of it. He was in
Interesting.
Australia. I don't know if I said that.
You didn't, but you're good now. No, but
Yeah, yeah,
I
that's important.
right where he's at. I was thinking like UK, honestly, because I think UK is similar in that regard as far as it's kind of negative. The news they get, you know. I'm obviously frustrated at that too, but yeah, man.
Well, in the UK, it's kind of like it is here. Like they have Sky News and they have BBC. So you have like the kind of left wingish BBC and then
Right.
like kind of like more leaning right with Sky News. Same thing
Yeah.
with Australia. Same thing with here. Except we have a lot more outlets here. I feel like.
Yeah, we do, and I think that's more prevalent, like you were saying, Bill. Like, do you want to be called Bill or William? What's the actual name here?
No, just call me Bill.
Bill.
I
Okay.
mean, you can call me whatever. I don't care, but Bill's easier. Yeah.
Okay, Bill. You were saying like, yeah, there's a lot more outlets out here, you know, than just the mainstreams, and I think this year has like really made that more.
It's exploded.
It's crazy,
Just in the
man.
last 3 or 4 years for sure.
I don't know what to say about that.
So just to circle back around to the death row inmate guest, because I am curious about that.
I kind of skipped past it. I'm sorry
why
about that.
was why was he the most interesting?
I like it's in my opinion, so everyone has their own interest.
I mean, it's your show, dude. You have an opinion.
I'd say he's. That's true. Well, I try to not when it comes to like political or something. Like I'll be political here. I don't because it's not my show, so I have to have as little of an opinion as I can while still having a personality. I don't know. That's what I try to balance.
That's a very fine line.
It's a very fine line, and let me tell you something, man. I can't say much, but I think it's hard. It's hard as crap.
I can't do it. If you've watched one episode of this show, you know I cannot do that.
Oh no, I have to bash the left side. I have to bash the right side, but like equally and only in a way that ask for their opinion. Like I can't bash it to bash it. I gotta say I heard this or I heard that.
provocative way.
Right. I bashed it because of this. So yeah, death row though, huh?
Yeah. So I thought that was my most interesting just because the whole episode's from like we're using Zoom right now. I used Zencaster before that, but I had to this woman wrote a book where she sat down and she wrote like the stories of these 4 death row inmates. And for my show, I had one of them on, so I was connected to her. But then she called up the prison, and the whole interview is from the phone call of the inmate on death row. Like you hear him through the phone, it has the very phone, old school kind of sound to it, and it's just interesting because I don't know exactly what he did because his trials being or his case is being revisited, but I do know it was well, I know what it was. Well, kind of, but it was a well, I can say it was what is it? Well, when you kill multiple people, it's whatever that
Serial
what do you
killer?
call that? No, not but like only like a few, like not multiple, but you like killed a few people.
Oh, all in one instance. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
not like multiple. Like I don't know how many. It could have been one, and I'm thinking multiple, but I think it was like few.
Well, why was this
Well,
case
whatever you
being
call that,
revisited? Did he actually not do
because
it?
maybe there's a mistake, or I don't know anything about his case. Like I can't say anything. Like I have no idea. But yeah, it's just being checked over. Like oh, maybe we didn't do as much, or maybe he didn't even do it. For all I know, like I have no idea. I have nothing about the case.
Oh,
I wasn't able to be told anything too because of that reason. Like she couldn't say anything, and then I say something to like, oh wait, this guy was told this, so that wasn't in the case, something like that.
okay. So what was the point of him on the show? What did you guys get to? Like, what was the juice? You know?
Yeah, so basically I just asked him questions along the line of what's death row like, what he now that he's in death row, he has a lot of spare time, so he's taking up reading a lot on the death penalty and things like about that. So I learned a lot about the death penalty, death row, like the economics behind it, if it's good or not, why we should change it, why we shouldn't, comparing it, stuff like that. And
Oh, that's good.
told me some, yeah. And then he told me, then he told me stories about like some of his friends. Well, being on death row, they get executed eventually. So gave me some stories like that and just stuff like that.
That's pretty cool, man. I would that'd be a super interesting conversation to have.
Yeah, that's one of the things where I don't have a super solid opinion on the death penalty.
Yeah.
Like, there's some cases where we've executed innocent people, and then there's some cases where it's like a serial killer who like rapes and murders children or something like that. Some
Right.
horrible, heinous, evil individual that cannot be turned around, essentially. So it's like, man,
I mean, I keep wanting to go back to the whole like humans shouldn't have a choice to kill another human, but I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. I think.
I feel like we've always had
For
that
me,
choice,
what
but-
decided it? Yeah, for me, what decided it is, I mean, morally, yeah, you can debate that. The thing that decided for me was, death row. Putting someone on death row and executing them costs about 10 times or like 15 times some like incredible multiplication of life in prison. So I just like save money.
Oh wow.
That's another thing. Yeah, it's cheaper to keep someone on for prison in life than it is to put them to death because of the cost of the drugs, the execution drugs.
Wow, that's insane, dude.
They're expensive.
Oh my gosh.
And the trials, and then they get like multiple retrials, like
Yeah.
like what the guy who I guess
The appellate process.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, firing squad done. 45-cent bullet. Out. They
my
actually
gosh,
they just like legalized that in some states. Now, well, the federal government basically said like you cannot if you're going to put someone to death, it has to be through lethal injection, right?
Yeah.
Attorney General Bill Barr just turned that around, just reversed that, and said, okay, it's up to the states. The states can decide the means of execution.
Oh wow.
And in Florida, you can still be electrocuted by electric chair. It's up to the prisoner, the executionee, how they die. And then I think, let's say it's like Washington, you can still be hanged. Yeah.
Washington State, you can still be
I
hanged.
think it's some northeastern state.
It's funny that it'd be a northeastern state.
I know, right? Isn't that
Sorry,
weird? Northwestern
state. Yeah, northwestern. We're on geography here, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I was like, man, that's
weird, man.
That is really kind of bizarre
that they would choose that. Yeah, that's.
I don't think anybody uses the gas chamber anymore. I think they nixed that.
Ugh.
What's interesting about the lethal injection one? I remember hearing stories that there are some cases, like horror stories, where like they'll get paralyzed and stuff, but they'll still feel the pain of it. Like it's very rare when it happens, but I would never choose that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you had a choice, like I'd be like, nah.
If I had a choice, it would definitely be firing squad.
Oh, I would actually want to get shot. Yes.
I mean, that's a
yeah
almost 100% effective
just a
way.
Boom in the brain. You're done. You're out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually would do that too.
There's so many other botched, like lethal injection gets botched, like you just said. Electric chairs had some botched executions.
Yeah.
And,
well, then who's to say that wouldn't get botched? You know what I mean? Oh crap! I missed. Hit your shoulder.
The firing
Let me
squad?
hit you again.
Well,
yeah.
A lot of times what they do is they'll have 10 guys line up in a row, and they'll give 2 people real bullets, and they'll give 8 people blanks, and they don't tell anybody who got what. So nobody knows who actually killed them, and then if there's 2 bullets, there's actually like 2 bullets going through the heart at 2 different angles.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot different than one guy shooting one guy.
Yeah, it's not just
I didn't think you said firing squad. I didn't think obviously it's
a squad.
Jesus,
it's like 8
dude.
to 10 people. Typically.
Let's make sure we get this right. Here's 8 people.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's weird. But
you guys a nice dark episode, huh?
Yeah, I guess so, man.
We just did one on abortion for an hour.
Oh yeah, I haven't put that one out yet.
That one was brutal. Yeah, we'll wait till like the Christmas season dies down a little bit before we'll be like, hey, welcome to 2021. Topic is abortion.
Right? Yeah, I want to get somebody on that's like a pro-life clinic or something to be on the show, and then I'll probably put them together so that I can have that, present that to people. But I was just sad the whole episode, dude. Like I couldn't even talk.
We literally ended the episode
by
watching puppy videos.
It sucked, man.
We had to.
It's like ugh.
It was a Debbie Downer.
And we are talking about death row, but like I don't know, man.
Well,
this is different. This is like
they're
they're on trial for these things.
Yeah,
it's a lot different. I
exactly.
Think. You know what I mean?
And then also it's just like getting people's opinions on it because it's a conversation that just got it's like kind of brought up into the mainstream because the Attorney General, who just resigned actually, is brought back the federal death penalty. He has already put to death several federal inmates and has scheduled many more that should take place during the Biden administration. But will Biden's Attorney General reverse that or stay, or will Biden commute the sentences? We don't know.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's
happen.
crazy, man. So hey, man. So what's the election like for you, huh? Do you what do you think about all that crap? Yeah. What are you into that or nah? You're just like kind of ignoring it and seeing what happens?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy Biden won. I didn't like either of them. I didn't vote for either of them. I was Bernie bro all the way.
I mean, Bernie has some good ideas. I will say that he does have some good ideas.
I got a little poster. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Dude, yeah. Bernie.
There it is. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. There you go, man. Heck yeah. Yeah. He has, like I said, he has some good ideas. The thing I like about Bernie is over time, which I haven't seen him like all throughout history, but I've seen a lot of his history. It's the same, it seems like.
He's the same person he's always been.
So it's like he's pretty consistent. And, out of all the people I've seen, I'm like, okay, you know what, dude? I got to give this guy some credit because at least he stayed consistent.
Yeah, authenticity goes a long way.
It does, yeah, for sure. And maybe some of his ideas wouldn't pan out. That's like every politician ever. So I can't really say much for that. You know what I mean? Like some people are like, well, that's stupid. No, well, that's stupid. Like if you want to nitpick all of his little ideas he has, that's fine. But you got to realize those same ideas you're nitpicking may not even come to fruition. Like they may not even happen. So really, what you need to care about is the guy's fundamentals and is he consistent? And that's how I see it. I don't know. So yeah, I like some of his ideas. I obviously am a lot more of a capitalist person, so that's where that led to, obviously.
Gotcha. And yeah, with that like authenticity, that's why like with him, you know who you're voting for. Or like my roommates or a lot of my friends are Republicans and stuff, and they all like him because of that reason. They don't agree with them, but it's like you can't not like the guy.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting that you just said all that stuff in the same sentence. You're from Connecticut, so how is that like up there? Like, are you in like a rural area to have like all Republican friends, or is that normal?
I'm on the outskirts of Hartford, so I mean most of my friends are Democratic. I'd say, yeah, the majority Democrats. Two of my three other roommates are Republicans. The other is well, I'm an independent too, so the other's independent like me. But most of Connecticut, I'd say, is very liberal,
Okay.
and I'm not a liberal, so I disagree with that. But that's the majority. Like most of Connecticut's your Hillary Clinton, your Joe Biden, that kind of
Right.
audience.
Sure. Wow.
Makes
Cool,
sense.
man. How old are you, dude?
Which, oh, me right now, I'm about 23.
23? Okay, I was going to say, I was wondering where you got, like, so growing up, were your parents like that? Did they push these values on you? Like, how did that work?
Not very too political. I will say, not too political. I'll say my mom became a big Bernie bro. Like when I started saying like, "Hey, look at this guy," because she's what you consider a spiritual person, and even though he's not spiritual, she's saw it as like authentic, and I explained some of the stuff he has to offer, so just jumped on boat. But the family wasn't really too political, I'd say. I
Right.
mean, actually, besides me and my parents, my family's very like one of the things I like about my show, or what I mean, like what I try to do in general, is be equal to both sides. Because I'll say in my family are more Trump supporters than even like anything left wing sided. There's a lot of like, I mean, my cousins are Republicans, my uncle's Republican, my grandmother's like a lot of Republican sides. So that's the dynamic of my family. That's why I try to see both sides.
Yeah. That's actually cool that you have, like,
It's
both things going on there, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Um,
yeah.
if you
And
ever
it
met
actually
our
lines up
family.
perfectly with Red Sox fans and New York Yankee fans. Yankee
Really?
fans are Republicans, Red Sox fans are Democrats.
That's
So
too funny.
there's that.
Oh my gosh, dude. I wouldn't know much about that, I'm not in the north, but that makes sense, honestly.
We're Texas Ranger fans.
I would are we are we fans of that?
I mean, I'm just not a big sports person,
I'm
but
not either, man. I'm not either.
all of my family are
I used
Rangers
to like
fans.
Josh
until they watch.
Hamilton before he fell off.
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah, Josh. I don't know who that is.
Josh Hamilton. Come on, bro. You know who Troy Aikman is?
I do actually.
Okay.
Yes, you know that one.
Good.
If you came down here and you hung out with my family, or probably even Matt's family, I'm not sure. I'm kind of assuming here. You'd be like, literally, it's just like red everywhere. Everything's
Yeah.
just full
No, well,
Republican. Like,
I have some cousins.
Texas forever.
I have some cousins that are like deep blue. They live in Austin.
Oh, there you go. Well, actually, you know what? It's funny you say that. I have some cousins that live in Austin that are also blue.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'll say if you're a Democrat in Texas, you probably should just move to Austin because everybody around you is going to be.
And it's interesting because it's even still like, even if you're in Austin in Texas, you're probably still a little red everywhere else. Does that make sense?
What do you mean?
Like let's say you have someone in Austin that's blue and they move to LA or they move to San Diego or wherever. They're probably a little red compared to them.
Yeah, I would
You know
say
what I mean?
I would say probably 90% of Texans own a gun and know how to shoot it and like guns.
Yeah.
Whereas liberals in other states
Sure.
don't deal with firearms.
Yeah, what about
much.
you and guns, man? What's up with that?
I mean, he's from Connecticut. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say you like guns and you've shot guns before and stuff like that. Being from Connecticut, that's a big firearm state.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it, Bill?
I don't know. I know. Yeah, like I've shot guns a few times. My cousin shows me his shotgun. He just got a new AR, so I don't know much about them, but I know enough to like shoot some of them and stuff like that.
Okay, so but you're saying you're cool with guns though. That's cool. That's basically what we're getting at here. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
would
yeah. I
obviously go
mean,
shoot a gun, right? Understood.
I support some restrictions on like some of them, like stuff like that. But yeah, I'm fine with it. Self defense, etc.
Yeah. Okay, I got you, man. Cool.
Hmm.
So you don't get that much into conspiracies, but about the election whole thing, the whole thing going on there. Do you see anything? Um, you think it's all going to go back to normal, like it did last election? Everyone's going ham, and then all of a sudden, just okay, Trump won, we're good. Like I'm saying, this time
Yeah,
you're gonna
everybody.
have this opposite. It's gonna be Biden, obviously, but I'm just saying, like we're gonna have a slowdown, and they're all their talking up is just gonna go away, and there's not really anything going on like they're
Yeah,
saying there is. You know?
yeah, everybody's all talk. It's the same
Mm.
where left wing Hillary loses, they all protest and etc. Dies down. Now Trump, he loses, they all protest. There or whatever happens, gonna be upset, and it's just gonna continue.
Yeah.
Everybody's very comfortable with their lives, and it's not like a big thing enough to actually cause a civil war or anything like that. I think that's just for headlines.
Yeah, I think as far as the presidency goes, it's not going to spark any sort of like major cultural divide. I think the cultural divide that exists in America today is brought about largely by uh, divisive media influence on both sides. I think there's conservative media and then there's liberal media, and there's very few people that want to hear the truth right down the middle or hear good on both sides or bad on both sides. They want to hear what they want to hear. And I think that divide and the culture divide in itself is what's really the problem. I guess the underlying issue.
Mm.
Not really like it's not really it's a bubbling up issue, not a trickle down or top down issue, as far as like leadership goes. But it takes strong leaders to unite
Definitely.
people.
It does. It takes a strong leader to unite people. And that's the thing is like, even though we're all comfortable and we're all chilling, you have to have someone up top that will bring everyone together. And if you don't, kind of screwed. But my thing is Trump didn't even do that.
No,
right?
no. He didn't even try.
Yeah.
I think the last president to really unite people was George W. Bush in his first term. That was it.
That was the dad, right?
That was George W.
Oh,
Bush.
George W. Bush. That's the son.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry.
01 to 05. was his
It's
first
funny,
term.
like we have an overlying political theme, and I'm over here like, who is that? That's his thing, I guess, man. I'm just the conversation guy.
Yeah,
I
you're the
guess.
conversationalist.
I don't know.
I mean, you got all the questions down. I asked like 3 questions, and I'm like,
These are just basic questions, man. What I really want, I don't know. The thing is that every time I have a guest, right, you're like, so do you guys have a plan for me? Or you're not the first one to ask that. Every single time I have a guest, they're like, so what are we doing here? And I'm like, I don't know, just be yourself. I don't just ask, do whatever you want. Like say whatever you want. Whatever you want people to know about, we're gonna talk about it.
because like you
So,
may have
whatever.
you may
I
have
don't know.
listeners on your show, on your podcast, and they might, because you stay right down the middle. You try to have a personality, but you don't try and reveal too much one way or the other to avoid alienating your audience. But this is a good opportunity for us to find out who you are, and maybe even for your audience to come and check out our podcast and say, this is the guy I've been listening to.
This
the
is who he
past
is,
few
right?
Months, like, okay, now I have a better
Or-
idea. I know where he was. I know a little bit about his family now. That sort of thing. So it's
Or
kinda
not, right?
opens
If he
that.
doesn't want them to know about if he doesn't want to, I don't want them to listen to that. No, they can't know.
Start getting some death threats at my way.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. I hope not, dude.
Well,
Jeez.
I mean, I haven't had any death threats yet because
No, we don't do that.
yeah.
We have like 3
we're
fans. So.
I was gonna say.
Oh man! Wow. What was that?
yeah. But yeah, I want to build off too that polar opposite part that Matt said earlier. And yeah, my last guest, the journalist with the Venezuela coup, at the end of my episodes, I like to ask my guests like, hey, can you tell what's your most important message, etc. And her most important message was this country becoming so polarized with, like you said, the mainstream, the left media, the right media. Everyone likes to hype up both sides or like get them as aggravated as they can to get more of an audience, more listeners, more attraction, and that just makes everyone angrier at the other side, and it just really fuels a fire.
Yeah, it doesn't solve anything. It is not
Yeah,
for the people's gain. It is for the media's gain
Corporate
and
media.
corporate media's
Because
gain.
if you're not corporate
money.
media like us, you don't really have as much of, or any agenda. So it's like
I-
our agenda is to get conversation going because we're so divided. I want to spark conversation so that people talk to each other
right.
and don't just agree with each other. you
Whatever
know?
they see, right? That's why we talk about these topics like abortion and everything else, because we want to know, we want people to know, like, what are we seeing out here, like, and the fact that you can talk to a journalist, and it's normal, and they actually are journalists, and they are doing the right thing as far as going into their topic and getting serious about it. But the thing is that people don't know that right now. In my opinion, they see Fox, they see CNN, they see these main things, and it's funny because everyone talks about it. We all talk about how it's mainstream and that's stupid, but they still listen to it. I don't understand that. I can't wrap my mind around that. Like,
So I think the main reason people listen to those big outlets is because they have the resources to they have the manpower, and they can have one guy dig into this one story and then produce this article, good or bad or in the middle, and boom, there it is. Whereas us, it's just you and me, and we have very limited resources. We have day jobs, but New York Times gets these exclusives, gets these big articles out there, like the Epstein thing I told you was Fox News, and then Fox News just recently got an exclusive with the Nashville bombers, that suicide bomber that happened in Nashville on Christmas Day. His neighbor, they just got an exclusive with him because
Okay.
they're Fox News. So
Well-
it's like you don't get that story unless you get that mainstream.
well, going into that, was that a suicide bomber?
Yeah. It's just a guy that committed suicide in style, quote unquote. I
What?
say that very glibly, but
There was a guy in the trailer.
in the RV, yeah.
There was. I thought there wasn't anything in the RV. I guess I don't know. I was just under the impression that.
So I'll tell the story real quick because it's kind of interesting. So this guy, his neighbor, I'll start with the neighbor, goes and visits his neighbor, the guy who killed himself, a few days before Christmas. And said, "Hey man, how you doing? Santa gonna bring you anything big this year?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, Nashville will never forget me. The world will never forget me." And the guy was like, "Cool, have a good one. Merry Christmas, bye." and the bomber built this big fence around his house. I just heard most of this on the way here. He just built this big fence around his house, pulled his RV inside this gated big fence where no one could see it, and that's when he loaded it up with explosives. And then he goes to right outside the AT&T, I guess it was a corporate office or a headquarters. They were doing a lot of 5G work there, and he goes there early Christmas morning, like 2 a.m., and plays a message for 15 minutes over some loudspeakers that says, "Hey, this RV is about to explode, essentially.
Yeah, right.
Everyone evacuate the area." And then he played some song. I can't remember what it was, some 60s song, very eerie kind of a thing, very
The heck,
creepy.
man?
And then blew himself up, like kablamo, huge explosion. Only injured 3 people, and the FBI just released DNA from the scene. They found tissue samples. It was like from the explosion, and matched it up with some DNA they found at his house, and said that was the guy's only fatality was the bomber. And it looked like he didn't want to hurt anybody else by doing this. Weirdest part about all of this is he gave his house before he died. He gave his house to, and he lives in Tennessee, right? And there's no laws precluding this. He gave his house to I think it's his daughter, who he never knew. She's 29. She lives in California. Didn't know who this guy was at all. And she ends up getting his house out of nowhere. She didn't even know it was willed to him until I don't know if it was a will or if it was a living will, but she didn't know it was hers until days later, because you don't have to have any consent to receive property in Tennessee. So if I lived in Tennessee and I was just like, Sky, I'm going to give you my house. Here you go. You don't even have to consent. It's your house now. Your problem. Or not problem.
That's weird, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Or it's all a big scam, and the guy was hired. I'm just kidding.
The guy
That's the conspiracy, right?
That's the conspiracy is he was hired to blow up the AT&T building.
Well, because there's fiber optics there, right? Isn't that what everyone's talking about? There's fiber optics there. It's a big thing. Oh my gosh,
that
you're
and
gonna take out
5G. I mean, the theory, the working theory is that he was paranoid about 5G technology, and was depressed because he was a lonely guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry we're bringing you into this idiocracy out here, but hey, you know what? Here we are.
It's an interesting story. Either way,
It is interesting.
it's weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you ever get into this stuff at all? Like, do you ever read that? What is that?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that bombing. I've heard of it, but like that's the most I've learned about the topic.
Right. What do you do? Your day job. Something just happened. Something just happened.
Yeah,
Something,
I kind of lost
hold
you
on.
guys.
Hold on one second, dude. Hold on one second. Audio still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
It's this, dude.
Did the phone die? What's up? It's plugged in.
I know it did. It died because it's.
And I can still hear you guys, but you guys can still hear me.
It's pretty easy. We're just gonna.
Oh, just switching the cameras here.
Yeah, he has audio still. He just
Okay. Getting all the noises.
You can still hear everything.
Yeah. I think we're good on audio and everything. There we go.
Yeah, I can see you guys now.
Cool. Had one phone die, so we just hooked up another one. We have. Okay, just two phones. Three? No, you have three phones. You have three phones here?
1, 2, 3. Yeah. Three
You had to count them. You're like Elmo just now. Like 1, 2, 3 phones.
2 for the plug, 1 for the load, right? Or it's 1 for the whatever. It doesn't matter. It
That
doesn't
song
matter.
popped in my head. It's 2 phones though.
No, it
Kevin
definitely
Gates.
is 2 phones. Yeah, I know, but I have 3, so I had to make amends with what I had. Okay,
You got flex the extra phone on them.
dude. Yes, dude. Okay, so we were talking about conspiracy, that Nashville thing or whatever, right? Then where
Yeah.
was I going with that? Where were you going with that? Were you gonna say something?
I think you asked me like if I follow that stuff, and it's definitely like I guess I just don't follow much of like the current news. I just like to look at like topics and like that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
dude, there it was. I was gonna ask you, what do you do for your day job? Like, what is that all about?
Right.
That's where it was gonna go. You're not? Are you
yeah.
just doing the radio all the time?
Yeah. No, I just graduated with a degree, and now with coronavirus, it's basically impossible to get a job. So I'm just applying while doing my podcast and radio.
Nah, dude. Come on down to Texas,
I was gonna
man.
say we got all the jobs. for
Welcome, brother. I'm actually quitting my job now and getting another job. That's happening
Really?
while everyone else in the world, I guess, seems to not have a job. Texas forever, man.
It's easy to find a job down here.
There's a lot of small businesses. Actually, 90%, something like that, of business. Okay, I can't say that.
It's
It's
probably
a very high amount, very high percentage of jobs in Texas are for a small business.
yeah, and you don't hear a lot about it, but a lot of the oil companies down in Texas are small businesses, like 15 people, 30.
And then
people.
one guy runs it.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
So, but what's your degree
Texas is
in?
one of those states.
Sorry, keep going.
Oh yeah, my degree is. I was gonna say, well, yeah, the flag. Texas is one of the states I would.
Oh man.
Yeah, so Texas is one of those states. I was looking into like because I'm looking to Boston, New York City, and then California, but that's so far. Say in Texas, they're both so far away. But you guys don't have snowboarding in Texas, and I like the winters.
Yeah, there is no winters in Texas unless you live in the Panhandle, like Lubbock, Amarillo. They get like 2 to 4 feet of snow a year.
Not enough to snowboard.
Well, I was gonna say, and it's like literally completely flat. Like I could see Lubbock from here, and it's I don't know, 300 miles away. So yeah, it's really flat up in North Texas. There's no.
Yeah, that's something you have to get used to.
You could get like a 4-wheeler and get pulled behind that on a snowboard. That'd be cool.
I've seen wakeboarding in
I've done
a
that
ditch.
up here. It's fun.
Oh, okay. Dang.
Really?
That actually does sound fun.
That sounds legit, dude.
Snowmobile and a snowboard.
Yeah. Wow.
I did it with my own car once, and I had my friend pull the. This was like 4 years ago, and my friend would pull the e-brake so the car would skid. And I just got my tires replaced last week, and yeah, they needed it. This one like 4 or 5 years. This was like 2 years ago, but yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. Wow. That's legit, dude.
People in Texas, when it snows, like even just a drizzle, just a light dusting, it doesn't stick. Like it hardly ever sticks. People freak out and don't know how to drive down here. Like it is just chaos. People will like drive 20 miles an hour on the freeway and stuff. And I'm like, guys, it's just a light flurry. Like it's okay.
It's like if it drizzled for a little while. It's the same thing. If you're driving on it, it just melts anyway. Wow, dude. I don't know, man. I'm just saying there are jobs down here, but you're looking at New York City to like work in New York City.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, to live and work because I need a city setting. So I'm looking at New York City and Boston because those are the big ones in New England, and yeah, that's just one of the ones up on my list.
Interesting. I'm surprised, honestly, because I know there's a lot of talk right now about like New York being the new Detroit, as far as like dying because of the whole thing.
Really?
The population's
Well, I'm
gone
over
down,
in Hartford
but-
a lot, so
You're up
yeah,
in
I'm over in Hartford a lot, so I'm not too worried about it.
Okay, I don't know. Hold on. I don't know the geography of Connecticut. Hartford is where? Like top?
You got your CT. It's right in the middle.
Oh, okay. Cool. And then how far away is that from New York City?
A little bit. I'd say I have no idea. I can't even say. Probably a few hours. I just type my phone into everything.
I would guess like a 2 or 3 hour drive.
That's
Not
crazy,
too
man.
far.
That's insane. You're talking 2 or 3
Probably, yeah.
hours is like a commute for some people in Texas, Like, I'm not kidding, dude. People do it. People freaking do it.
Yeah, we have a coworker that commutes an hour one way every day.
Granberry,
Mm-hmm.
Chris Dacus.
Mm-hmm.
He's a trooper.
Yep. It's a lot of miles.
I mean, he makes good money, I guess. You have to just gauge that, is it worth it? I don't
just
know.
Plow
man.
through cars, though. I mean,
But
geez.
so if you, we work at a dealership. If that obviously hasn't been, whatever. Anyway, if you lived in New York City, you just want to do that because it'd be better. Like it'd be bigger for you to be able to spread everything you're doing because your podcast and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Like, I just want to be in a city too. That's a very city environment, so a good population, a lot of stuff to do, a lot of action. But also, yeah, like radio in Connecticut, or even like advertising in Connecticut. It's a decent city. You've heard of it. State. You've heard of it. But yeah, New York City. If I'm on the radio there, I'll probably get who knows how many more listeners, how
I
much
see what you're
more
saying.
attention, stuff like that.
I see what you're saying, man.
And
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like a cool saying.
Yeah, I've thought about the whole radio show thing too. For me, it'd be like, since it wouldn't be a job, it'd be like I'd pay for a segment, and I'm not sure that would work out very well right now. I guess. I don't know. I mean, how many more listeners do you get from a radio show versus just doing the podcast? Or is it all, pushing the marketing or whatever?
Yeah, it's different on each day, so it has its range. But I mean, it was a good start because right off the bat, you get listeners because there's always people tuning in. Probably now my segment is around like 200 listeners, I'd say, because there's the website and I can see like the stats, but it's very funky, so it has a range. But above 200, below 200, around that range.
Like a TV
I'd
rating
say,
while
yeah.
you're on the show?
Like, yeah, it'd be cool if they could like submit like ratings, like maybe like 1 star, 2 star. I was like, oh, this is trash, stuff like that. But they can't do that.
Oh man, then you could have a segment of literally reading the ratings. Let me read this guy's review of me.
You go through the reviews like,
That's what
oh,
they
not this
do with,
one, not this one, not this one, not this one. Oh, here's a good one. Okay.
Yeah, let me skip all the bad ones. Oh, this one's good.
Exactly. Maybe with Apple Podcasts once I get enough reviews.
Dude, okay. Don't get me started on freaking Apple Podcasts, man. I hate it, dude. I freaking hate it.
Huh.
I mean, okay, this
Why?
is like this is a very okay. They were the first. I like that. That's great. That's cool. But if you're not a new and noteworthy podcast, you will be, well, it will take a while, right? And that's fine, I guess. I get it. But I feel like their whole algorithm base is based on that rating. Who do you know that reviews a podcast? Maybe you know a lot. I don't know. But for me,
Mm,
people don't seem to review podcasts.
Hmm.
Because I have,
Definitely hard to, yeah.
right? Like I
Yeah, it's
would
definitely
say,
hard to get, yeah, it's definitely hard to get the attract like from the radio. It's good to I could send people to my website and then I send them to Spotify. But even like there or even Apple Podcasts, it's hard for them to just find me through that.
really? I will say
Yeah,
this: I
until you
did
get
look for you on Spotify, and I could not find you. So that you may be right
yeah,
about that.
exactly.
The fact that I couldn't, but a lot of that too for me seems like I don't know if this happens or not, but I'm always looking on my own phone, and I don't know if my phone has quote unquote cookies, if you will, for that specific thing of me searching this podcast on this podcast app. I know they don't really use cookies because it's not a web browser, but does it though? Because like you're always searching and it's another app. I feel like it could, and it probably knows whenever
Sure,
I
it
search
uses some form of cookies.
my name a lot. The Toasty Podcast. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think that. I'm not sure if that matters though. I'm not sure if that even matters.
I don't know. With like the website, when I first created it, I kept typing in my show name like every other day or multiple times a day. So it would start going to the top of the list when people Googled it. And then I did the same with like Spotify and Apple, but just well, I don't know if the Google one even did anything. I don't think it did anything. After like a month or two, it finally popped up to the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they definitely have an algorithm to prevent that. I know YouTube absolutely has one to prevent people from doing that to boost their
Oh, dude, definitely.
status.
And I know Apple does do that, and I know they like really hone down on it, and I'm happy about that. I am happy about that. And you can't just basically pay your way up because podcasts that have done that in the past have gotten removed from Apple Podcasts. I've looked into that, but like I said, I think it's just a ratings thing, like a review thing, and I'm disappointed because I don't think they're going to have that many ratings. Actually, I think Spotify is obviously going to be on its way up. Now that they have Joe Rogan, of course, that's going to make them like
Yeah, they're pushing podcasts.
everyone's going to do
Spotify,
podcasts on Spotify.
for sure.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Do you use like who's your host for your podcast? Do you
I
have a
use
host?
Anchor. It's
Anchor?
free. It's
Okay,
easy.
yeah, right. That's all right. We had a
Yeah.
podcast on the Garage Noise. It's like our last episode, I think. They use Anchor as well. It makes sense. But is there a upload cap?
Yeah. Like time limit or like number you can in a month?
Number you can in a month.
I don't think so. Maybe, but none I've noticed. I upload once a week,
Okay.
so maybe I don't know.
We don't do more than 4 a month, though, do we?
No, we
4 or
normally
5
do
maybe?
3 to 4 actually a month. So far, that's our average, but the size is always what's crazy because I'll have these people on for a freaking hour and a half, and then I do my thing and put it in, and it's like next thing you know, it's 80 megabytes. Well, I have a total of 250 megabyte limit a month.
Yeah.
So it ends up being this thing where I'm like, oh, I need to actually hone in on this, but that kind of sucks, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I don't have the time to do multiples like that a week yet, so makes sense right now.
I feel that the whole thing's time consuming. I finally for Christmas I finally took my first week break where I'm not uploading like tomorrow, but today when we're recording. And it's just, you got to keep up with getting guests, setting stuff up, doing your research, uploading your episodes, description, editing the episodes. That takes a long time. I like to do other like social media, like putting together trailers, stuff like that. Like the whole thing is just an actual like second job.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm getting another job.
Less hours at your
I'm
main
quitting the
job.
job I'm at because of the hours, right? And I'm getting another job so I can podcast more. And you're right about that for sure. Yeah, for me, it's the getting guest part is important. Obviously, we're trying to do a thing where we don't have a guest on every time. It's like me and Matt because we go into like we'll do a lot of research for an episode and we'll get into it, and then Matt just spits all his information and his facts, and I like that because that's the education part of the podcast. That's the whole point of the thing. But I like it because I can have a guest on and then we can just chit chat like we are now, and it's like, okay, here we are, and it's easy. It's easy going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people want to listen to
Definitely.
that. I'm not sure, but hey, you know what? Guess we'll find out.
I feel that when my studio finally opens up, I want to have little freestyle segments where I'll like just sit down, like I'll have my interviews, etc. But then my casual, like, hey, this is not the same kind of show. It's just a casual talk about this, what's in the news, etc.
Exactly. I agree
Yeah.
with that. 100%, man. 100 freaking percent, dude. It's crazy how many people are doing podcasts now, dude. Like
Yeah.
I met you through Instagram, man. And it was like, oh, Connecticut. Wow, what the hell? And it was like, let's just ask this guy and see what happens. And here we are. I just wonder how many people everywhere else, are doing this.
It's like everybody and their cousin has a
Oh, like
podcast
podcasts
now.
in general, yeah.
Yeah, everybody and their
Everybody
cousin has a
does, and I
podcast, you think?
think I saw a stat. Yeah, everybody does, and I saw like 70% of them die off in maybe half a year or something like that. And like the majority die off after like 7 episodes, but there's so many of them out to compete with and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I mean, we have something going for us, man. We're past 7 episodes, so that's cool.
That's very true.
And you say everyone in your cousin,
I thought-
but the thing is that I am the only person that I know around me that has a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything for that. I'm just saying that's kind of how it's
Yeah, I
going
don't know
right now for
anybody
me.
personally that has a podcast.
But everyone does talk about it, and it is a meme now that you're like, you meet a guy and he's like, "Hey, you want to listen to my podcast?"
It's the new SoundCloud rapper.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah. That's a very good
Yeah.
analogy.
It is for sure, man. It is. How long have we been doing this, man? 10:27. Cool. Yeah. I mean, we hit some good points. I think. I think. Is there anything else you really want to hit?
I gotta get going because it's a half hour and drive, 40-minute drive back
Okay.
from where I am right now.
Yeah.
It's late, but what else? Is there
It's
anything I wanna
11:27 there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Yep.
Dang, man. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, hey,
Time
man.
zones.
That's cool. Yeah. You want to hit some quick things?
No,
Hit
it's
your
all
links,
good.
and
We didn't realize different time zones. But yeah. Let me I always have my guests. I'm always like, hey, say your final message, your final, etc. But now, like,
Now
I
you're
haven't
the
guessed on
guy.
another podcast since, I haven't guessed on another podcast since like July. So it's like, oh wait, it's all different now. But what would my thing be? What my final message? I guess my final message is, because it's politics, Bernie Sanders. Yeah.
I like it.
There you go, man. You think he's gonna run in 2024?
Bernie Sanders 2024.
Oof, I don't think so.
He's
he's
like
a little old
110,
right now.
dude.
He'll be like 84,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
83, something like that.
Dude, Yang Gang again, dude? Okay, all right. I gotta stop. I gotta kill this.
Could be.
I don't know, man.
And
All
I
right, well,
guess
hey.
I'd do a promotion.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why. That's
yeah,
why
that's
we
cool.
asked, man.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
Instagrams, your freaking follows,
Yeah.
your whoever, man.
Yeah, for the people listening, your listeners are probably in Texas, but if you're ever in Connecticut, go to tune in 91.7 Wednesdays. But for the podcast itself, just type in podcasttheway.com. You'll see links to Instagram, Twitter, anything there. Just podcasttheway.com. Easiest way to do it.
Heck yeah, dude. You have a Patreon?
No, no, not yet. No.
Do you want that or not? That's a love-hate thing, dude. Like some people love it, some people don't like it.
I support it all the way, 100% do it, but I'm just holding off on it for
Well,
now.
yeah, you have the radio show too, so that makes sense, man. Well, cool, dude. This was legit. I loved it. I just wanted to talk to someone else that podcast, to be honest with you, and I like it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting views, you know.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks,
So, maybe again sometime, and we'll see what happens in the future. You know what I'm saying? We already have links on Instagram for each other, so cool, man.
Got the
Keep me
Connecticut
posted, sounds
connection
good.
now.
Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, Connecticut connection, brother.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys later. This has been the Toasty Podcast, and stay toasty.
Stay toasty, everybody.
Toasty.